Week 7 Thursday show, cash lineups, GPP lineups. Let's talk some overall DraftKings FanDuel lineups tonight, Alex. We're also going to go through some questions from Tuesday. I've got the transcript up right in front of me. Hello to everybody. If you're watching, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. If you're not watching live, thank you for watching, period. We appreciate the support. Thank you for all your comments, thumbs up, likes, suggestions, feedback. We appreciate everything that you guys throw our way. And we hope to incorporate a lot of that. One of those things from last week was actually a listener league show. And I think his name was Ross. Ross Anderson actually won it last week. But you didn't reach out to me, Ross. Hit me up on Twitter or send me a YouTube message, something. Hit me up so we can get you on. We really wanted to talk through your lineup composition there, seeing as how you took down the first week. I increased it from 25, I think, to 40 people on Tuesday, and the show or the league actually filled up already. So I've opened up a second listener league with 20 more entries. I don't think we'll do a first place gets on the show for that, but we'll still give you your shout out and give you your props. Hell, maybe we'll bring you on the show anyway. Who cares? We'll have some fun with it either way because, it's fun. Let's play some DFS. I do want to talk one thing real quick. We touched on the industry the past couple of weeks and how, a lot of the things going on in the industry, a lot of the bad press that it's been getting lately. And I just want to say that if you have SiriusXM, you have to go on demand and listen to the DFS special with Dan Bach, Jeff Mans, Tommy G, and Tony Sincata because it's amazing. Those guys talk through the industry. They talk through what's wrong with it, what's right with it, how to make it better. And it was just incredible. So if you have the ability to do that, definitely recommend it to you guys. Awesome. It's an hour long, though, so you know what you're getting into. I'm a huge DFS industry nerd, so I listened to it. I loved it. If you guys ever have any thoughts, again, reach out to us. Let's chat, not just about, this week's games, but we can always talk industry or whatever you guys want. So quick rant aside, Alex, congrats on the Mets, first and foremost.
Thank you.
You are more than welcome. I'm
genuinely
figured I'd slide it in there before Pete got on because I don't want him to hate me too much. So
yeah, he didn't even want to text me. Like, I didn't even bother. Like, I wasn't gonna gloat. Like, they're a very good baseball team. They're gonna be playing us a long time. I know it's a little early to say this, but I feel like we're the next generation of this Cards-Giants rivalry that was the past 5 years. They just kind of alternated making it to World Series. They won every one of the last 5. So for us to kind of even be in that conversation, I mean, not saying that we're definitely going to win the World Series. I'm hopeful. I'm a Met fan. I'm happy that we're in the World Series, period, whether we win it or we lose it. But the fact that we're even considered to be one of those elite type teams that's going to be in that situation a lot is great. And he should be proud of that team. We're both a year or two ahead of schedule.
I was going to say that, to be honest, the Cubs beyond exceeded expectations, and that's like throughout the whole season, right? We talked about this on Tuesday, where when the Mets got Cespedes, it was kind of like, okay, we can do it this year. They're going to do it this year because they haven't locked him up, right? When he came over, it was a half-season deal. And the Cubs, however, kept bringing people up from their farm system. So it was like, okay, here's what we got. Here's what we're going to have for the next few years. And it's impressive. It's definitely an impressive feat. They got a lot of talent up and down that roster. And, Pete's in a good situation, I think, for the first time, probably in his entire life as a Cubs fan. But
real quick, both teams kind of did the same things from the trade deadline on, just on the other end of this, like the other end of the other side of the field. Like, we added our bats where our pitching developed all year. We brought up Matz, we brought up Syndergaard. We still have Wheeler in the wings, and we picked up Addison Reed. We picked up Clippard. Like, we made those.
Clippard was actually huge.
And with them, like, they added like a lot of pitching towards the end. They added guys like Cahill, and they added Clayton Richard, just like guys in the bullpen to help out that team because they knew the bats were coming and they didn't really have to do much with the bats. So it's kind of interesting to see how we brought up our pitchers and made additions on the hitting side, and they kind of brought up their bats and made additions on the other side also. So I just love how it's so clearly they're the bats, we're the arms. Let's see what happens for a while.
And at the beginning of the playoffs, my hope was Mets Jays, because I wanted the best pitching staff in the Mets to face the best hitting in the Blue Jays. So crossing my fingers they can, pull a miracle. I don't think they're going to do it in KC, but it'd be pretty nice to see that match. It'd be impressive, and I think you guys would take it down in 5 or 6 if that's the case, to be honest with you.
I hope so, man.
But we'll see. You guys got a couple days to rest up, get Cespedes healthy, and hopefully Harvey too, right? He took that line drive. That wasn't pretty.
He's all right. Don't worry. He's got extra days to rest now, so I'm not worried about it.
Good for you. Well,
this is the first time I haven't had to freak out watching a Met game though, too. So I don't know what to do with myself right now. Where I'm watching the Met and jumping in and saying something, and then watching the Met game. I actually can focus on this for once, which is nice.
Good. So let's dive in then to. I think let's start with some questions.
Yeah, let's do the questions.
What's that?
Let's do the questions first. Wait for Pete.
Yeah, let's start with some questions, and then when Pete hops on, we can hop into lineups, and then we can probably finish with some questions as well. So let's see. Our first one was very first question: Seahawks or 49ers on Thursday? I took the Seahawks in both of my pools, but right now it's a moot point. First question on some players, Alex. Gurley, Freeman, Hopkins. Are they all locked in this week?
Yeah, definitely. Hopkins,
Freeman too?
Yeah, against Tennessee, this is going to be a running defense game. And unfortunately for me, a guy that just loves Julio and wants to see him just obliterate people. They're running the ball effectively. They're going to play good defense. And we don't even know if it's Mettenberger or Mariota yet. So that's another thing. If it's Mettenberger, the defense takes over, and they're just going to run the ball down their throats. So hopefully Julio gets his point sprinkled in, but I think it's a Freeman game. Hopkins, obviously, and Gurley against the Browns. Come on. Even if they're losing, they're feeding the ball to Gurley. Because Foles isn't good. Well, there was a question on Tuesday in the comment section about about fading Gurley because he thinks that Cleveland will be up early. Even if they're up early, Gurley's getting the ball. Foles is prone to turnovers. They need to get it in his hands for them to move the ball regardless. So it doesn't matter what the score is. They're handing the ball to Gurley.
Yeah, Gurley's going to be in almost every lineup of mine, right? I'll have a little bit of exposure to fading him, but really not much. Even then, that's going to be, the whacked out GPP lineup for me. Freeman and Hopkins for me, man. I don't know. Freeman jumping all the way up to 7,900. Hopkins to 86. That's a huge number for both of them to hit value.
Cast chalk.
I get that they've done it, but
it's the usage that they have such an insanely high floor still, even if they don't explode. They're not going to give you zeros. They're going to give you 15 plus points as a floor. And I know paying up for 15 points isn't ideal, but at the same time, paying up and getting 6 is a lot worse. So you're not getting 6 with these guys. You're getting 15 or more points with them. Especially if Miami takes an early lead on Houston, all Hoyer is going to do is throw Hopkins the ball.
That's true. But I'm not. I don't know.
Gurley is obviously the best.
I'm not saying I oppose it, right? I'm not saying I'm against it. In my heart of hearts, I don't know if I can throw 16,000 into those two guys this week.
That's fair.
That's all. But I'm not opposed to it, right? That's just me. I want to see what I can do with my money elsewhere, and we'll see as we go through the lineups in a little bit. We'll see what happens, but just it was tough. All right, let's see. Alex beat someone by 1.4 points. That was the Larry Donnell guy. We apologize to you, Jill, already.
Oh, and because I saw the question was what my name is. It's Prince Homerin. So for you Thrones fans, you guys get the pun. If you don't, I'm sorry, you won't ever get it.
Yeah, that was me. I didn't get it.
Exactly.
But that's okay. I don't get HBO. All right, let's go. Someone called the upset of the week is the Jets over the Pats.
Saw that.
Someone's playing Landry Jones against Houston. I don't see why not.
Hey, Pete.
Keep scrolling.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Where's my intro music? That's perfect. That's perfect. This came out when I was like 12 or 13, and I thought it was just the greatest thing on the face of the earth. So I appreciate you having it ready for me. Yes.
If I had the web in front of me, I would have had it. I had my phone all queued up and ready for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
How come I never get a lower third? Like, what's going on here?
Don't use Chrome. I stopped using Chrome.
You have to not use Chrome.
I'm using Firefox and I can't get one. All right. We're live. They don't want to hear us complain about that, right?
Yeah, you should stop complaining and just get the right.
All right, let's go.
The right browser there. So let's see. We'll do a couple more questions here. Where were we? Marshall wasn't bad. Eli sucked balls. Someone won $400. Cool. Will Bowman. Congratulations, man. That's a nice win. LOL at the Cubs. Sorry, Pete.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't me saying it. It was a comment. So.
Sorry, Pete. Sorry. I've been incredibly nice. I haven't said a word. I haven't bragged. At least to Pete. I've bragged, but I haven't bragged to Pete.
I'm not worried. We got a good team.
I know, you do, and so do we. And we were talking about before you came on how we're going to be playing each other a lot in the playoffs in the coming years.
All right, I'm going to try to fix this lower third issue. I'll be right back. So, good job with the intro music.
Okay. As you jump off, we'll go with the next question that I finally found. How do you feel about the Eagles and Panthers? I think the Eagles could be another upset win. I actually agree with that. The Panthers, very emotional, big game, flying back across country. I think it's set up for a letdown here. I actually do like the Eagles there. What about you, Alex?
No.
No.
The team is
good.
awful.
Hashtag analysis. Okay.
The only reason they beat the Giants because the Giants are a million times worse.
True, but they still beat them. All right.
I don't care. They're not. Philly's not beating good teams except for us, and that was without a running back. So.
Let's go to the next one. Matt Castle or Landry Jones?
Neither.
I mean,
Neither.
If you have to pick, it's Landry.
Pete, I gotta ask. Did you hear this song as a kid too? Wait for it.
All right, now I'm intrigued.
Doing this shit from Cleveland to LA, nigga.
Ooh.
Wherever you niggas want to drink, it's where my guns at. You niggas can wait for this for
I had the first album I ever bought, the first rap album I ever bought. I don't remember the name of the album, but it was Naughty by Nature, and it was the one with Feel Me Flow on it. That was my jam. Like, I saw that on MTV. I saw the music video to Feel Me Flow by Naughty by Nature on MTV. And I was just like, I have to own the album with this track on it. And this was before you could just buy like one song on iTunes. You know what I mean? Like now you can just log into iTunes, you can get whatever song you want, right? So I went to the store and I convinced my dad, didn't even know what rap music was, to buy this album for me just so I could hear the one song over and over.
So
and then
I did that with I forget which Dre album, the one with Eminem. I forget what the album was called now.
And I know what you're talking about. All About Dre or something? No, what was the name of it?
It was 2000. I think the album was called 2000, right?
Something
2001,
like that.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was It was like Eminem's like first big like track with somebody, and I loved it.
We should probably
Dude,
talk football
so-
at some
Yeah, we
point.
should probably do that.
We will, but first, Pete, I gotta just call you out. You made us all look really old, right? It was first it was Naughty by Nature, then you called it. Then there was, I think you mentioned CD or tape, one of those.
I actually
going to
did
the
have
store.
that on cassette, actually, yes.
See, cassettes. Actually going
And
to
I
a
had
store to
Bone
buy
Thugs and
it.
Harmony on cassette, too. Actually.
Dude, I had Bone Thugs. I had the dual that album. That
hold on.
album. I had the dual CD album. Awesome.
Dude.
You want me to make us sound really old? I'm going to tell you the name of the store that I went to buy it, because it was within walking distance from my
Sam
house
Goody?
as a kid. Wow, nice, good. I remember getting Sam Goody gift certificates for Christmas, but no, within walking distance of my house was a Coconuts. Okay, you guys ever see? You know,
Coconuts.
you're looking at me like you don't even know what a Coconuts. Alex Coconuts has no fucking idea what Coconuts.
No idea.
Can I say
Not cool.
All right. Anyway, Coconuts was like a I don't even know how to. You know what it was? It was like the Borders music, or like the Borders books of music. You know, everything was just slightly more expensive, and it was a little nicer, but like you just really just wanted to go there just to hang out and look at stuff and listen to the occasional track. I also bought a Snoop Dogg album. It was the one with Ghetto Symphony on it, and that was the only track I wanted to listen to. And so I bought the whole album so I could listen just to Ghetto Symphony, which is also
Now-
actually a pretty good track. Mystical
Now-
has a great verse on that by the way.
They're all right here.
I know.
Everything is right in this one little device. How amazing is that?
And you don't have to go.
Technology's fantastic.
You don't have to go anywhere to buy it either. You don't have to go anywhere to get it.
No.
You can just
You're
download
not
it.
going to Coconuts.
Yeah. But that's
All
a
right.
problem because
So-
now all those stores are going out of business. You know, you can't. There's no Coconuts.
Well,
There's no Sam Goody.
Hey, you got to adapt. You got
Got
to
it.
adapt, right? That's it. So let's get off of great music for a little bit, and we're going to go to our lineups. Let's actually talk cash lineup first. I will present to everybody and then hop over to the screen. All right, we'll start with a QB, and
Carson Palmer.
I'm going to throw Chalk in there. Chalk Palmer, we'll call him this week. Agreed? Agreed.
Yeah, I like Palmer.
Next.
Hey, by the way,
Can't
is there
not win.
like honest question? What other quarterbacks like are you even using this week? Because I had a problem like trying to figure out, is there a quarterback that I'm even going to use other than Palmer? Because I really like the weeks where I do the best. Last week was my best week by far, and I had a ton of very diverse lineups. I probably played, I think, about 9 or 10 different stacks, QB wide receiver stacks, and a lot of them hit, like my Kaepernick Bolden stack. I had a few that hit
Cutler,
really well.
Alshon, Stafford.
Yeah, Cutler, Alshon, Stafford, Calvin Johnson. So, like, I like to diversify my lineups, but I'm having a real hard time finding other stacks to use this week. I came up with Luck
let's-
Moncrief as another stack.
Let's clarify it first. Are you talking cash right now?
I'm talking GPPs because I like to diversify in
Let's
GPPs.
do that after.
Were we making cash
So
first?
We're doing cash.
we're
right?
doing cash
Okay,
lineup
never
first. So
mind
let's
then.
talk
Let's
GPP
bring that up.
quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Next
I mean,
one.
we're leaving Carson, but the only other quarterback I would use in cash is Rivers.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
I agree with Alex there. I also, again, just like, I mean, we were talking earlier about how I don't hate the idea of Freeman or Hopkins, but I'll probably stay off them. I don't hate the idea of Luck or Breeze either, but I'll probably stay off them as well.
Not in cash.
So-
I'm definitely going to throw in a tournament lineup with both of them, but
Right.
not cash.
We've got Palmer up there. He's everybody's favorite this week. He is straight chalk this week in my eyes. Running back, we've mentioned him numerous times. I think the first one we throw in there, Mr. Todd Gurley.
Oh yeah.
Do we have a second running back right off the bat, or do we want to move on to receiver, tight end?
I kind of want to
DFT.
make it. I want to make it Lamar.
I'm okay with Lamar. Let's fill out a couple of easy spots though. I think DST is an easy spot to fill this week. I think we're plugging in the Falcons and calling it a day, right? So let's get that cash on the table and into our lineup. Do you agree, Alex?
Yeah, I mean the only other high
Mettenberger.
I would maybe go Cardinals just because Flacco's so terrible against the blitz, and Cardinals.
They haven't been turning the ball over a lot though. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
but he's been. I think he has like bottom 5 quarterback rating or passer rating against the blitz, and the Cardinals blitz more than anybody other than the Jets.
I would agree with
That's
you.
also, I would rather play
I
the
thought-
Falcons. Agree.
Okay, I wanted to play the Cardinals last week against Pittsburgh and did a lot, and they burned me. And that's with Mike Vick and Landry Jones at quarterback. So I like the call on the Cardinals. I'm not debating with you, but for $300 cheaper, going up against Mettenberger and the Falcons have been pretty good.
Falcons are an easy call this week.
Yeah, so let's just get that out there.
If Mariota starts, does that change anything for you?
Yeah, I'm still playing them.
Okay. All right. So there we go. We've got our DST in there. Do we want to throw at least one wide receiver in there?
Sure. Let's see what I have in my other lineups that I made.
Yeah, I'm checking mine as well. How about, okay, here's a receiver I like, and this is a question that someone actually already asked, but they were asking for GPP on the YouTube page. I told you guys on Tuesday I played John Brown a ton last week, and I'm probably going to do it again this week. What do you think about a Palmer Brown stack in cash? Too risky? Too obvious?
I don't know if I would call it too obvious, but I think for cash I might rather play Fitz.
I agree.
Kind of.
I just have the DK stuff in front of me, so I don't have the targets stats in front of me, but if someone can pull it up, I'm pretty sure we'll see Fitz with more of a steady and higher target number than Brown. And for me...
Well, one thing I'll say about that, though, is Brown actually has been getting quite a few targets. And if I remember correctly, there were a couple weeks where he even had significant, 2 to 3 more targets and catches than Fitz. And actually, that's what led me to play Brown a ton last week, is I was trying to compare them and figure out. I wanted to do Palmer stacks last week, and I was trying to figure out which receiver to stack with him. And when I started actually looking at the numbers, and I saw Fitzgerald sitting at 7,200, Brown sitting last week at 5,200 or something like that, it was an easy decision. You just play Brown a ton.
Yeah, I mean, it's 74 versus 55 this week.
All right, so let's hold off on that. We'll see what we have money for.
I'm down.
I have my chalk tight end play.
Who's that?
Gates all day.
I agree.
What do you mean? Oakland is so good against the tight end. Why are we?
Exactly. They're too good. They're too good that we just have to take a chance.
The contrarian play. I like it. Yes.
Because so many people are going to think that everybody else is playing him, so they should not play him. That's why we play them.
All the fades on Gates this week. So you guys are good.
I like it, Alex.
I'm good with the contrarian Gates play. Yes. All right, so that's good.
Like so we have 5 spots with 6K a spot left. That's a good spot to be in.
You know what though? Somebody in chat just brought something up, which actually I realized as well. So I have the Broncos defense in a lot of fantasy leagues. They're the only defense I'm holding on to through the bye this year. I've said that a lot. And the defense that I added to back them up in a lot of leagues was the Rams. And this week at home against Cleveland at only 2,300. Alex, are you too risky for a cash play? What do you think?
Too risky for cash. I'll definitely do that. I definitely do one of those stacks in a tournament. I have the two running back defense stacks that I really like is that and obviously Devontae Falcons for tournaments. But I'm not comfortable with the Rams and cash.
Okay.
Yeah, just because for me I'm the same way. I feel like Cleveland's put up 500 plus yards on offense for a couple weeks in a row, and it's not like they're going to go in there and steamroll the Rams, right? But they can do some damage.
What their numbers are versus how they're doing at home versus away. On screen.
2 home games where they have 11 sacks, away games 3 away games, 8 sacks.
I just meant
definitely get averaging almost 5 more points per game at home.
Do the log. No, yeah. So 11 Pittsburgh, and then I'm guessing 13, 14, yeah. Those are decent offenses. Granted, Roethlisberger got hurt that game, but
Yeah, that was the one that Roethlisberger got hurt. But Arizona, Green Bay.
plus a bye. I'm kind of not hating that at all. If we need money,
Yeah, that's a really good look at 2,400 this week. Very good look. All right, let's get off it though. We agreed to the Falcons. Running back, second running back this week. If we're laying off Freeman
I want to see how much money we have if we put Lamar in. A lot, probably.
Okay. Yeah. 63 per person for the next 4.
I like it.
So, other plays that I like in that area, though, Mark Ingram, who we saw, and Pete's been recommending for quite a while, right?
Recommended him, he just shot the bed.
Right.
I was on the road,
Indianapolis,
actually.
quite a good play, actually, I think.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
on the fast track.
Against Indianapolis in the Dome.
On the fast
I also like Latavius Murray.
I don't know about that. I think they're going to be down early.
But
Yeah,
he's still,
I'm
he still catches
lately
balls.
Ever since he got hit in the head against the Bears, he's kind of been
Yeah.
That's definitely not a cash play. That's $6,000. That's why I like Lamar Miller more, because Lamar Miller should be 6,000 or more running back, but he's not because of how terrible they were, and they're just running the football.
Are we okay with Miller in there then?
I'm good with Miller. If we want to play another running back, we can probably put him in the flex, but I'm great with Miller there.
All right, moving over to receiver. Oh, I know you want to play Julio, but let's see what we can do without him.
I kind of would rather play Odell this week. Like I said, I don't know what Atlanta's going to do through the air this week. I think it's ground.
Odell and cash?
I'm thinking about it. I'd probably rather play Hopkins.
I don't think I'd rather. Yeah, I was going to say, if I'm spending up at that point,
Well, like, with
I
the
think I'm
money we
sitting
have, we
Hopkins.
can get
Hopkins is sort of an obvious play, but Miami's
Yeah,
defense looks a lot different.
It's all garbage points. That's what we're looking for Hopkins.
So what
Yeah,
are we
it's
sitting
enough.
at?
Hopkins
What are we
is
sitting at per position?
main one.
63.50.
6.3, basically.
So I don't know if you guys. So do you guys look at the top 5 to 10 GPP winners and the ones you play?
Occasionally.
I sort of started noticing a trend, and I played a few lineups like this last week, and they all performed pretty well. Like one example was I played a.
Wait. This is for tournament conversation.
Are you going
Okay,
back into
okay.
GPP again? Steve?
Sorry. You got to remind me about this though. I'm gonna put it in our chat so we remember to talk about it.
Perfect. You know who I really feel like we should put in here? Decker.
Please say it. I was waiting for it. I like him a lot this week too.
Dude,
Especially with the news
Yeah.
that Marshall had a.
No, I just think that the Patriots are either going to take away Ivory or Marshall in this game, or at least try to. They're going to try to take away one or the other, and Decker's got nobody covering him.
Yeah, it's like my dad is going to be their DB, so I'm pretty sure Eric Decker can be.
I'm actually their DB. And I'm going to let Decker score on
Just a revolving door.
I'm going to let Decker score on a post route. I'm just going to make sure it happens.
So I just noticed this. Did anyone else see it this week? Look at this discrepancy.
Yeah. There's a clear,
there's nobody
clear
from
upper
65
echelon,
to
and then it just
7,400.
drops.
That's ridiculous.
Dude, I kind of might want to almost
is
go back to
very-
well with Amari, because I love Amari.
So one
That's
thing I would say,
open.
guys, is that actually, just for the listeners who haven't seen the news, Marshall's hurt, so that increases
What?
our Decker play even more.
Wait, I didn't know this. What happened?
Calf injury today at practice was limited. I mean, I think he still is a go, but just keep an eye on that. So I like the Decker play even more with that.
As long as he was practicing, like, balls. That's not good.
I think
Coach
he'll still
Todd
play.
Bowles indicated that at this stage he's not concerned about the wideouts availability.
Regardless, that makes Decker a better play, and we have Decker, and it just makes my life suck a lot more.
Right.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to our next wide receiver 2 here. Who are we liking?
So what do we got? 6,700.
Moncrief with luck back.
I do like
I don't know if you
Moncrief.
guys watched the game last week, but they had a 4th and goal at like the 1 or 2, and instead of taking a field goal, this was early in the game. Instead of taking a field goal, they were playing the Patriots obviously, and they called a fade route to Moncrief on 4th and like 1.5. 4th and goal. They didn't kick the field goal.
That
They
was his
called,
touchdown catch, right?
Right, and it was just a design play, 1-on-1, toss the ball up, let him go get it. So if they're going to use him that way plus every other way, they've clearly got trust in him. I think he's clearly the number one. Honestly, I'd play Moncrief over Hilton at this point, at least in DFS where he's cheaper. So we can put him in, and then we got a lot of money.
Got a lot of money.
He is who we thought he is who we thought he was going to be last year, in my opinion.
Right.
I thought he was going to step up and start making these type of strides last year. Now, this year it was, Andre's there, so Dante's maybe coming on at the end of the season or next year. So now he's like kind of the opposite. He's starting to come on. I like it a lot. That's a good call there, Pete. I'm a fan.
And now we can go with a top-end wide receiver, and we'll have enough left over for a decent flex.
Or do we want to go top of running back with an receiver? I'd rather go up at receiver. I'm just saying.
Actually, I'm not so sure, Alex. If you look at it, I might agree with you on the top running back. For example, I actually like Peterson a lot this week. In week 2 against Detroit, he put up 129 rushing yards, did not find the end zone. But I think he's a good play. He's right at our price range, 7,600, and then we can fit in still a 7,000 plus receiver. I don't mind that play at all.
But we could also just on the other end of the spectrum, we can go double wide receiver.
That's true.
Hopkins, somebody cheaper.
Well, let's do the Hopkins play first, and then
let's see what we can do. Hopkins.
But one thing you talked about, Alex, is that in a cash game, playing a top tier running back is not a bad idea, and I think that's something that a lot of people underestimate.
But I feel like we have 2 RB1s for the price of 1 RB1 in this lineup.
Where we are right now, we can still fit in Ingram as our flex.
I like that. Ingram, or the only other name I saw in that range that I liked
Gore still
was Ivory. And John Brown is not bad, but we're leaving a lot of money on the table if we play him.
800's not too bad to leave on the table. I don't mind it that much. But
in that range, I like Brown, I like Ivory, and that's about it. I guess Jarvis Landry's interesting. He's been finding the end zone. He's actually had a significant number of red zone targets. So even though he hasn't caught a lot of touchdowns, he's a very high candidate to regress to the mean and start finding the end zone.
For this lineup, I don't want to have the running back and the wide receiver for a team that.
Yeah, that's true. We're already using Miller.
In cash, I don't like doing that. So that'll take Landry out. That'll take Ivory out.
I forgot we had Miller in there.
My preference.
No, I meant just for Miami specifically because they've only shown us 1 game so far this year that they're a decent team.
Right.
So that's why.
Well, in general, I don't like putting running back receiver from the same lineup anyway. But yeah.
All right, so then let's double back. All right, double back. Take Hopkins out. Put.
Okay, so we could go Hopkins and Ingram in that lineup, right? We could go Hopkins and Ingram. Let's see who we can get with Peterson.
What?
Or let's put AP in there and let's see who we can go back.
I like Hopkins Ingram.
I like Hopkins Ingram too, but let's see what we can do with Peterson.
This is the problem. We hit that cutoff.
Yeah.
And we're
well, hold on. If we can get ourselves $100, if we can get ourselves $100, we can go Fitz.
Well, we could get $1,000 or $900 and drop the Falcons for the Rams.
Then we could go Fitz and Duke.
Before we do that, let's just see what the options are if we have an extra $900.
Fitz.
Yeah, but I don't want to drop $1,000 for $100.
Yeah, me neither.
I would love to play Antonio Brown this week more than anything, but that's not going to happen.
Well,
I mean,
play him in
Calvin
GPP.
8 against the Vikings in week 2.
Yeah, and he's coming off a great game.
It kind of
actually,
looks
as
like
well.
Stafford was starting to sling it to him, like just
throw it up and let him come
Don't get
down.
That last pass was exactly that. Let me throw it up and make Calvin.
But he had another one of those earlier in the game too, before
Fucking
it
YOLO
got into
bomb.
that situation. Before it got
Yeah, he
into
did it twice. He threw at least 2 fuck it YOLO bombs to Calvin like he used to.
Which, by the way, you should do
Yeah.
if you're Matt Stafford. Like that's what you
Yeah,
should do.
it's the only way you're.
That's what they paid you $40 million to do.
Right. Lob the ball to the huge
But I don't-
nature, who's awesome.
I don't want to trust. I can't trust Stafford throwing those fuck it YOLO balls in cash. Because he's just so dumb.
Did you just call them YOLO balls?
I said fuck it YOLO balls.
I love that. That is like that. That's great. See, that's another merchandising that we should do.
Fuck it
That
YOLO
should be a
balls?
T-shirt. That should be a T-shirt.
All right.
Like right across the front in block letters, just spelled out. Bam, that's a
Fuck it
T-shirt.
YOLO balls with a big
Exactly.
picture of Matt Stafford.
Exactly. A caricature of Matt Stafford.
All right.
That would be even better. A caricature. Like with a
just
tiny body and a huge head.
or just a beautiful picture of Calvin leaping through the air catching a fuck it YOLO ball.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Let's see.
This is so good. Mark, you got to get on the merchandising aspect here.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm on it. Don't you worry.
No, but seriously, if you guys want us to
Yeah,
do that.
can we get this fucking lineup done?
Okay, I like the Ingram Hopkins play better than
Yeah, I
anything
like
we
that
came up
better.
with Peterson.
Let's just do
And
that.
it fits perfectly, so let's just play it.
There you go. $0 left over. You've got a lineup of Palmer, Gurley, Miller, Decker, Moncrief, Hopkins, Gates, Ingram, and the Falcons D.
We got targets
I like
on
it.
targets, carries on carries, and the worst secondary going up against our quarterback. Down. I like it.
All right, let's clear it out, and let's look GPP. This is going to go back to Pete's little rant there at the beginning
I had
of
a
our
couple. I
50-50.
forgot what they were, though.
Well, the first one was a quarterback one related
Okay,
to
right. Yeah.
who
Anybody
can you
else
play
say that?
other than Palmer.
Yep, there it
What
was.
is that?
That one.
What
This
is,
time I'm
I
not
forget
hearing
as
things
well.
like I was on Tuesday.
is Mark messing with us again?
No, it's not me. It can't be me. I have my headphones in.
Dude,
you guys wouldn't hear it.
It's the feds.
Dun dun.
Dun,
It's
dun.
it's Matthew Stafford. He just heard you were going to use his face without paying him,
Yeah.
so that sucks. That's too
Matthew
bad.
Stafford's
All right.
really upset over his YOLO balls.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford's more
Sorry, YOLO
concerned
ball.
about his trademark fuck it YOLO balls than he is about playing football.
All right, so
All
here's
right.
what I was going to say.
Let's
Let's
move on.
start
Let's
with,
get a
should we start
GPP
with
quarterback
the
here.
QB rant or the wide receiver rant?
Let's go QB rant. I kind of
Okay.
want to hear a QB rant first.
I forgot what I was saying, though. What the hell? What was I talking about?
But there's no quarterbacks to use this week?
You just
Oh, yeah.
you just said who do you play other than Carson Palmer? I think that was the extent of your rant.
We could
Yeah,
just
and I
make
mean, it's a
another one with
legitimate
Carson.
question. Well, okay, but let's think about this, because Palmer, I think, especially in a GPP,
No.
his usage is going to be really high. So same with Rivers.
Yes.
I think Rivers and Palmer, a lot of people are going to use them. So let's say I'm a guy
Yes.
out there and I don't want to use one of those obvious quarterbacks. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's a few names that I think are interesting this week to me, and I'm curious what you guys think. I think Andrew Luck, as bad as he was the first 4 weeks and as much as we complained about him, I think he's probably the third quarterback I would use behind Palmer and Rivers. Okay, I think he's a very interesting name to me. We also talked about on our value show on Tuesday Ryan Fitzpatrick, just because of his price. Interesting name for a GPP lineup. And as Alex pointed out, he's playing cornerback for the Patriots right now.
Yep.
And
I'm
then
gonna let him complete everything.
yeah, I mean, why not? You guard Decker, and then there you go.
Trust me, I'm a cornerback. Let's put it that way.
There's one other really interesting name, and you guys are probably going to look at me like it's gross and shake your heads and tell me to get shut up for a while. But I'm actually dead serious. Here's a name that I would really consider in a GPP this week. It's an important game. Even in bad matchups, he has performed well, and his price is relatively low. I am talking, of course, about...
Josh McCown.
No, but I like that one too.
I don't.
I like this one even better than McCown. I think in a GPP, McCown's worth a shot.
Can I
Cam
look?
Newton.
Oh, I
Cam
was
Newton.
Cam.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I think his ownership rate's going to be very
I don't
low.
hate Cam.
Yeah, I think his ownership rate's going to be low. Philadelphia has played much better at home, and they sort of rely on turnovers, but Cam's been pretty good with the ball this year. Look, I think he's a legitimate play this week, and he's cheaper than Palmer as well. You know, he's right in that range of eminently usable starts. So, I don't know. What do you think? It's sort of a shot in the dark, but for me, if it's not going to be Palmer and it's not going to be Rivers, those are the two obvious ones. For me, it's between Luck, or you go real cheap with Fitz, or the mid-tier option is, I think, Newton. I think he's not such a terrible idea.
So let's just bring up the prices. We've got Fitzpatrick sitting there at 52, or we go up to Cam at 66, and there was a third, right? No?
Luck.
Yes. No.
Luck, yeah. Luck, Fitz.
Luck all the way up at 76. I don't mind Luck. To be honest, I think Cam is probably top 5 in terms of ownership, just because of his running. He's really the only QB in the league that's going to get you yards rushing. I like Fitzpatrick as a really contrarian play this week. I'm with you there. I like him a lot.
Echo, it's back.
You know, the other thing to consider is that it's not necessarily a bad idea to use a high ownership quarterback, and then what you do is you diversify your plays at other positions. So
I'm down with Palmer.
I'm down with Palmer. What do you guys want to do?
Palmer. Dude, there's no like Palmer's gonna be in the winning lineup this week. I
think that's a fair statement. So we throw him in,
It's
and
possible,
then we figure out
right?
what to do at other
it's
positions.
just figuring out which 1 or 3 receivers to put with him.
Palmer Brown. You know, I love my John Brown.
You want to make it interesting? Do Palmer, Brown, Floyd?
I mean, that's an interesting play, and I like the idea. But as far as something that, you know, we're trying to give people a feasible, like, viable GPP lineup, I don't think I want to play 2 receivers from the Cardinals in like a viable GPP lineup.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, I guess, but like, it's also
Why
like,
not? If
that's a GPP move.
we're not. So what about this?
How about Palmer Floyd then? How about a Palmer Floyd stack?
That's what I was just about to say. Thank you. I was going to suggest that because if you're not going to go contrarian at quarterback, you got to go contrarian somewhere, and Floyd being the third guy in his looks, in his reads, 3,200. I mean, he's going to run those deep routes.
You should have had.
That gives us the ability to spend up elsewhere. I'm for it. Let's do it.
You should have had 3 touchdowns last week.
Cool. Tight end. Do we want to spend up anywhere, or do we want to go throw in the Rams D? And
Antonio's going to drop 30 points.
I like the Rams D a lot. I do like the Rams D a lot. I like Antonio as a play this week, actually. Okay, so here's rant number 2. Can I go on rant
Antonio
number 2?
Brown?
Yes, please.
Yes, Pete, rant number 2. Okay, so I've been looking at the top 5 to 10. Like, go and do this. Look at the top 5 to 10 scoring lineups in your GPP. And one trend that I've been noticing is that top scoring lineups very commonly will have 3 number 1 wide receivers in their 3 wide receiver spots. Now, that may seem obvious, but when you consider some of the lineups we've been putting together like a lot of Decker lineups for our GPP plays. We've been putting together a lot of John Brown lineups for our GPP plays. Look at this lineup. So last week, a lot of the top 5 lineups had something along the lines of Hopkins, Marshall, Allen. Okay, now think of how good of a lineup that is. Or like Hopkins, Edelman, Allen. Or like, you know, it was 3 number 1 wide receivers. You know, Hopkins, Fitzgerald, Edelman. Something in that combo. Hopkins, Calvin Johnson, Edelman. Sorry, Mark. I know I'm going for a while. But this is like a critical, like, strategic concept. When you play 3 wide receiver ones, you give yourself a really nice floor, and then you got to hit it tight end, you got to hit it flex, you got to hit it running back. But it's an interesting, like, idea.
I think that one of the reasons that that's been so effective this year is just because the quarterback landscape has just been either putrid or just like you don't know what's going on. So a lot of like the low price quarterbacks have been working out this year, where last year was always pay up a quarterback and figure out the rest. This year it's pay up wherever you want and then just throw a quarterback in. So I think this year, like, yeah, that's definitely a viable strategy because we're like Carson Palmer's the best play of the week, and he doesn't even break 7,000. Where last week we were paying up for quarterbacks like well over 8,000.
So how about this? Let's throw Floyd in the flex, and let's find 3 number 1 wide receivers. Let's just do that to organize it logically. So we've got our punt play with Floyd, right?
Yeah.
And then let's find 3 number 1 receivers that we like, and let's plug them in, and then let's try our best to hit at running back and tight end.
I mean, DeAndre.
I agree.
So DeAndre goes in there.
What if we did
in target? So why not?
I know you don't like the double stack idea, but what if we did that, Calvin, and Fitz?
I don't hit it. I don't hit it at all.
With Michael Floyd. And then we put Christine Michael at running back.
I hate Christine Michael this week. I saw news today that Joseph Randall's still expected to get like 12 carries.
Well, no, hold on.
When Christine Michael busts a 40-yard touchdown run on the first drive, they're not going to not give him the ball. So it's a tournament play.
No, guys, look at our money though. We got enough money to play Gurley and Miller.
Oh, true. Let's do that.
I mean, and then in the tight end we find like somebody.
Wait, but I kind of want to play Gates still.
Okay, well let's see what happens if we play Gurley and Gates.
Gotta make a choice.
How much. We could play Ladarius Green. That's another contrarian idea.
I do like the green play.
So we got 4,000 at running back. Can we hit anybody? Rashad Jennings, not a bad idea.
You hate Rashad Jennings.
I definitely hate Rashad, but following your logic, that's not a terrible idea. I don't hate Riddick.
Boy Theo?
I don't hate
Buck
it.
Allen?
No, not Buck Allen.
Let me look at wide receiver.
You know who I don't hate is Chris Thompson in that spot.
He's injured.
We talked about this on Tuesday. He hurt his back, but he came back in the game.
Significant swelling in his back. Didn't practice today.
Don't play Chris Thompson.
Kind of a big deal there, Alex.
That is a big deal. I didn't read that. My bad.
Okay, guys, I have a quick idea, just for fun. Okay. What if we take out Fitz and plug in Antonio Brown?
Okay.
Now, the reason I'm recommending this is because right now I'm looking at our lineup and I'm seeing a lot of chalk. I'm seeing a lot of high usage guys. The only one I'm not seeing high usage is Floyd, probably. And even he, I think, is going to.
Calvin's chalk, or Michael Floyd.
Fitz definitely is, though. Hopkins definitely is. Gates definitely is. Gurley definitely is, and Palmer definitely is.
All right, fine, that's fair.
So I just want to diversify a bit and go with something like that, like a Theo Riddick. Is there anybody else we like in that range?
All right, wait. What if we swap back, put Miller in, take Gates out, just to see what we can do with a more contrarian look?
I think we're going to be $100 short of Ladarius Green at tight end.
I will not endorse this lineup if you put Alfred Morris anywhere near it.
I agree.
Come on. Put him on the screen. I don't want to look at his face.
God dang it. Fine. Just wait. When he goes for 100 yards this weekend,
yeah, I still won't care.
Y'all can kiss my ass.
Yeah. When he's part of the Millionaire Maker lineup, I will stop playing DFS.
Oh, wow. We can get a lot of quality tight ends here, actually.
Delaney. I like Delaney this week.
Yeah, I mean...
Dude, they're terrible against the tight end, too.
Ladarius.
Plenty of Ladarius.
We have enough money for Delaney.
Dude, hold on. No, look. We can go Ladarius and switch out Antonio for OBJ if we wanted.
Ooh, do it.
Ladarius. Switch out Antonio.
Odell has money against the Cowboys except for week 1.
Except for week 1?
Yeah.
Bam, look at that. Look at that.
I like that a lot.
These 3 wide receiver 1 lineups, I mean, they're so sick. Now, I like the idea of a Palmer-Floyd stack, but I will point out here, just for giggles, that we could swap out Floyd for Riddick.
We could.
But it's not as much upside, I feel. I feel this is much better upside.
To be honest, I like Floyd's upside a lot more because he's
Yeah.
going to be catching the ball 40 yards down the field. He's not going to have to run it 40 yards down the field.
Look at that lineup. That's a pretty sick lineup.
Like it.
Do we want to look at tight end
I mean-
just for giggles and see if we like anybody better than Green? That's the only place I see where
There's no way.
Nobody in that
There's
range.
no way.
What, you guys don't like
Sorry,
Ed
hang on.
Dixon?
Dude, give me all that.
Do like nobody
Wait,
here.
what's Reed priced at this week? Apparently he might be playing.
He's up there, 42.
How is he still? Whatever. Never mind.
Yeah, they never dropped his price.
Unreal.
That was killer, right? Let me just take it. Now I'm curious as to what his salary was in the past couple weeks.
Well, they won't show it.
Yeah,
I
it
like
was 45, and then he didn't play those couple weeks and only dropped to 42. Oof.
I like that lineup a lot with Green in there.
Yeah. Or
That's a pretty-
Ebron. Ebron had a pretty good game against Minnesota.
I don't want to stack Ebron with Megatron.
But that's like an interesting. Yeah, I hate Stafford, but
No.
it's still
I get it.
interesting enough that like.
Oh, I
Nobody's
won't
gonna
argue
do
with you. It is
If it works,
interesting.
it works, but nobody's going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So let's do it. No, I'm just kidding.
That's why. That's why you
do
want
it
to
because
do
it might be dumb, but it might also not be dumb.
Exactly.
it. It's dumb until it doesn't pay off, right?
Yep. Yeah, I need to run. I picked up Carrier for Eifert's bye week, and now I'm screwed because Reed's playing.
Yeah, I have a lot of
Right.
really
There we go. GPP
gross
lineup.
things happening this week.
Oh, let's stop there then. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the lineup construction. I'll be honest. Other than us bickering about who to choose, I hope the viewers actually get value out of this to kind of see what goes through our heads as we pick these guys and why we're picking them, and that's kind of what the discussion is back and forth, right? Our whole intention here is to get you guys into our heads as we're going through these picks, why we're choosing them. Pete's wide receiver one rant was great because it tells you why we wanted to go there and why we wanted to look at that strategy, and look what came out of it. A pretty nice looking lineup to me, to be honest with you. I mean, you got studs up and down that lineup. It's got incredible potential. I like it.
See, that's the thing is when I was coming through those top 5 to 10 finishing lineups, and I began to realize that the way people were hitting those huge, like how the hell do you hit a 240-point score, right? Well, the key is you've got to have some points, some stud points. And I was trying to figure out where are they getting their stud points? Where are they coming from? And they were getting their stud points from like a 35-point game from Keenan Allen, a 38-point game from DeAndre Hopkins, and a 37-point game from Megatron, for example. And now you've got 100 points out of 3 spots. You just got to hit with the rest of your spots. You got to hit with your value picks.
I like that little stretch Mark was doing in the background after he hit his mic, and now he doesn't know that he's not talking.
It's like when you reach your arm around the girl, like you're totally being sly about it. You're like, I didn't mean to do this.
Sounded like you hit a gong.
Yeah, my bad. I nailed the mic. That's my bad. My bad. But yeah, let's see here. We've got a few more minutes. Let's try and run through.
We have questions, don't we? I'm assuming.
Crowder or Diggs this week, Alex?
Ooh. Oh man.
We didn't make a single mention of either one of them.
I know, and there's just because of the way that our lineups turned out, we didn't really need to go cheap at wide receiver this week like we have been. God, that's so. I'm good with playing either, to be honest.
All right, Pete, let's bring you in then.
I think I would rather play Diggs solely because Reed's back to take away those targets from Crowder.
Is Reed officially back though? Is he definitely playing?
I don't know if he's officially back, but he should be back. I don't know. I keep hearing him.
All right, Pete, how about you? Give us a final say here.
GPP or cash game? I guess that kind of matters, but I think this week wow.
It's so hard this week. I mean,
my gut says Crowder, but I don't feel real good about it. My gut says Crowder, but Diggs has such upside. Like you can't ignore it.
I like Diggs personally. I think he's shown it the past couple weeks, and not only Reed but Deshaun may come back, right?
Yeah, that's a problem. The reason I'm saying my gut says Crowder is because he's definitely carved out a role in that offense. This could be a sneaky high-scoring game. This is two awful pass defenses going up against each other. So if I'm looking for a game where I can see a lot of points coming, this is a game. If I'm looking for a game that I could see being sort of low-scoring, like a 17-10, that's like the Minnesota-Detroit game. I see a lot of Peterson. I see a lot of Minnesota trying to establish the run, and I don't know. Certainly Diggs has been impressive, and he's been doing better each week. But my gut says Crowder, but it's too close to call.
Alex, do you like Steve Smith as a contrarian pick against the Cardinals?
I don't like Steve Smith ever.
Why?
I don't know. I just never. He either blows up or he does nothing, and I hate those kind of players.
3 out of 5 weeks this year, he's been at 28 or more points.
I understand, but I don't want to be on him in the week that he just decides to throw up a dud.
So you'll give up a week like he had against Cincinnati, 13 for 186 and 2 touchdowns, just because you don't want to be on the 1 week that he has
0
4 for 24.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe in a tournament, but I never think to play him. He's one of those people where it's just like, oh, Steve Smith, I'm good. Because I'm just waiting for just the day where it's just like, can't do it anymore. Sorry, guys. And then that's it.
Dude, that's me with Devontae Freeman. That's me with Devontae, because I'm like, he's not going to put up 35 points every freaking week. And so it was like, okay, he did it 1 week, he won't do it 2. Oh, he won't do it 3. He won't do it 4.
Steve Smith is a fossil. Freeman is a second-year running back.
Yeah, but it's the same line of thinking. Like, I'm waiting for that game where he's not going to put up 35 points. And then I'm like, okay, everybody will finally be off him, and then I can actually hop on the train.
I mean, the other difference is that the Falcons are a good football team and the Ravens are a terrible football team.
Oh, my God, would you stop doing that? I'm not comparing the two. Shut up.
Dude, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Give me a minute. I don't know what
got Skype coming in.
Give me a second. It's not Skype. I think it's Facebook. I think they changed
like Skype. Okay, well, in the meantime, I'm going to mute Alex because he ticked me off.
Yeah.
Pete, talk to me. Do you like Steve Smith at all?
No. No, I mean, look.
They don't like Steve Smith? Are you kidding?
I mean,
I can't.
Okay.
I muted you because you wouldn't listen. Would you get rid of that noise?
I'm trying.
My concern with Smith is that this is a serious injury he sustained, and there's always those generally are not good. Last I checked, that was not a good thing to have happen to you. So look, okay, he plays, but I just want to see one game. And this is not a good matchup going in the desert to Arizona. Not a good matchup coming right off of what must have been a serious injury. So not this week. I like Steve Smith, but not this week. I'm not rolling the dice on him yet.
Fixed it.
Sure about that?
Yep, pretty sure.
All right. Let's go to Let's see. Any sneaky D's? We touched on them on Tuesday.
There's somebody I wanted to talk. Snead, I like putting in some lineups this week.
I agree.
I mean, obviously we make one cash, one GPP, but I'm good with putting Crowder, Diggs, Snead in a bunch of my lineups if it warrants. We just we do different things when we make the lineups, but those are definitely guys that I am very comfortable playing this week.
I'm with you there.
And I know you hate it, but I don't hate playing Freeman.
Yeah, I'm fine with playing Freeman.
I said I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I understand it. It's so much money for somebody that I'm waiting for that regression.
Okay, and like we were talking about earlier, that regression is 15 points. at 4.
Yeah, and I'm not dropping 8K on someone for 15 points.
Okay, that's fair, but
Jeez,
I'm not
Alex.
dropping whatever.
Jeez.
I'm not dropping whatever it costs to get Steve
Gosh.
4. So
I wish I had a Napoleon
Napoleon
Dynamite
Dynamite.
soundboard right now. Gosh. Would you play Jarvis Landry in cash, Alex?
yeah, I
have
mean,
a vote
for
for
less than 10 points yet.
Yeah, that's something that I brought up too. Is I like the reason why we ultimately didn't play Landry in cash this week was because we had Miller in the lineup, right?
Yeah.
Like Landry, he's been getting plenty of catches, plenty of targets, and plenty of red zone and end zone targets. He's gonna score more. Second half of the season, I think he's gonna get into the end zone more. And if you add that to all of his catches, he's a great play. I think, really, honestly.
Yeah, his worst game was 10.9. That was against the Jets in London. And other than that, his worst game was 15.5 points.
And he had some really, really bad fish and chips before that game, so the performance was like totally understandable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Makes so much sense now.
Yeah. When we explain it like that, how can you not?
It just makes so much sense. Let's see.
I have an intruder here.
They're also like they're figuring out ways to get him the ball. Like his touchdown was on a run. He looked like Lamar Miller running the ball.
That's right. It was very nice. That was their first rush touchdown of the season, wasn't it?
Was it 12 yards or 22 yards? It was 12 because
I think
Bernard's
12.
was 22, right? I'm just kind of confusing the two right now. The two runs.
All right, Pete, is this the week Mike Evans goes off?
Maybe. Washington's pretty terrible. I mean,
So's Jameis.
that's the problem. People are dropping Mike Evans in some leagues, and I think that's crazy. I mean, the talent is still there.
What league are you playing where they're dropping Mike Evans?
Exactly. I'm dead serious. I've seen Mike Evans dropped, and that's insane to me. I don't know that I'm still not playing him. His price, what I'm waiting for is his price is going to go. It's going to get to a point where I want to play him. The matchup is good this week, so if you want to argue that the matchup is why you're playing him, great. Look, he's 6,400. You could play Landry for $200 cheaper. You could play John Brown for almost $1,000 cheaper. Brandon Cooks is a better dart throw this week at 5,500. Decker at 5,300. Evans. I'm waiting for Evans's price to get at least into the 5,000s and the matchup to be right before I do anything with him. But could he go off against Washington? Absolutely.
Alrighty. T.Y. Hilton or Amari Cooper, Alex?
Cooper. Unquestioned number one target versus an offense that spreads it out. Plus money.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't been on Hilton at all this year. Am I
no,
right here,
I
Alex?
haven't even, his name hasn't even crossed my mind when it comes to making a lineup.
Yeah.
Like, I see his name and I'm just like, oh,
It's
okay.
just tough because of what you said. They spread the ball out too much. It's just like the Packers offense right now. They spread the ball out to everybody. It's tough to really count on him in cash. Flacco Smith in a GPP.
No. Against
Sure.
the Cardinals.
I think that was-
No. All right, this is the other thing.
I think that was more of a
Taking
joke.
risks.
I know I'm off Smith in general, but what I was saying earlier about the whole Flacco sucks against the blitz. The Cardinals blitz 43% of their defensive plays. Flacco is going to be in trouble. Big trouble. The reason we put the Falcons in for the cash one was because that's easy. The Titans can't do anything offensively, even if Mariota's under center against that defense. But the Cardinals have the most upside of any defense this week, easily, because of what they do with the blitz and how bad Flacco is against the blitz. I'm nowhere near anything on Baltimore this week. Don't even think about it.
Yeah, I'm not on Baltimore at all. I mean, it's interesting, I guess, game theory contrarian play because probably nobody's going to be on him. But other than that, there's a reason nobody's going to be on him.
I mean, if you're throwing in a ton of lineups, then you want some exposure because that's
right. Diversify.
If it hits, it's gonna be Stafford Calvin from last week, right? It's gonna be what leaps you above 75% of the field, but the chances of it hitting aren't very likely. The chances of Flacco and Steve Smith hitting against a Cardinals D in Arizona is not the same as a Stafford Calvin stack taking on a Chicago D in Detroit, right?
But it's Monday night under the lights at home in Arizona.
Yeah, actually, so that's was part of my QB rant that I forgot to finish, which was diversify, right? Like you should be pro diversity in your GPP lineups, especially at your stacks. Like don't play a bunch of Palmer Fitzgerald stacks, Like diversify your quarterback wide receiver stacks. I think that's really important. Last week I played a Kaepernick Bolden stack. I played like bajillions of stacks. I even played a McCown stack, and I even played a Flacco stack last week because they were playing the Niners. And even last week against the Niners, it didn't really work out. The Flacco stack was the worst of the stacks I played. So diversify and play your stacks, but try to find like 8 or 9 that you like. Don't just pick one out of the blue and go, okay, Flacco and Smith against the Cardinals.
All right, what do you think of Doug Martin, Alex?
I'm good with Doug Martin this week. I don't know about Cat. This is what we talked about on Tuesday also. Washington has gotten shredded the last 2 weeks by Freeman and Ivory. Martin could have a very nice day, especially because Jameis sucks so bad that they're just going to need to run the ball.
Gentlemen, on that note, I have to run. So.
All right, Pete, I think we're going to do one last thing, and then we're going to sign off as well. I did just want to say John Brown was limited in practice today as his hamstring tightened up during drills.
Michael Floyd!
Yeah, that makes Floyd a better play.
Just a heads up. They do take the field Monday, so if you're playing Brown, you can always pivot down to Floyd, but just a heads up for those, or if you're, that's on DraftKings, right? If you're playing on FanDuel, good luck. I would probably avoid Brown altogether. But yeah, there you go. I think that's it for the podcast this week. Pete, Alex, thank you very much for joining me again tonight. Week 7, Thursday night game is just about in the books, I believe.
We have a guest next week.
On to this weekend.
Steven Hauschka.
We do.
We have a scheduled guest, assuming everything is still good. Jeff Miller from Dynasty League Football is going to come on and join us on Tuesday. Pretty excited. He's a very, very smart Dynasty mind and knows a little bit about the DFS. So we're very excited to have our first very legitimate guest that isn't one of the 3 of us this season.
Yeah, thanks
That's
for
true. We're
Mark.
very illegitimate. We're very illegitimate. And
no, you know what I like. That's not like the core 3. Like we have like a genuine guest.
Yeah, I would like to say my dog has made several guest appearances and always fills us in with fantastic little tidbits.
So yeah, he's our second guest of the year. The only one that can speak about fantasy football. I know your dog gives you all the advice, but he can't speak. So you just pause at stuff, and he lets you know what's going on.
Right. He paused at the screen and then
with that, it's just as easy as they show it on the commercials, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Got it.
With that, it's Alex at Alex Hanowitz, Pete at P. Karaganis. I'm Mark at Evan Milano. Thank you guys for joining us again. We appreciate it. Share, click, comment, tweet, everything. Click the thumbs up. Make sure you guys help us out and share the link to the show. We appreciate it. We love the growing. And join the Listener League again. Like I said, first one filled up. Open up a second one for you guys. Let's go. Let's win some money. Let's have some fun. Good luck this weekend, and we'll catch you guys next week.